All right, y'all. We finally have the tea. We finally have the tea on the altercation between Jackie, Christie, and Brittany Renner. Okay. That was not aired on Basketball Wives, or at least it hasn't aired as of yet. Okay. But with all this dialogue going on about it, they might have to go back and give it a flashback. Okay. So as you guys know, Sky Squad, we're back in the building. I have been on the hunt for this intel for quite some time. Like as soon as I heard about it, we saw it first on, I believe it was Reality Chat's page. And this was also taken from the site called LA Gossip TV, which you can also follow on Instagram, right? So shout out to both of those sites because putting all the information together, we finally know what happened, okay? So Jackie had tweeted this out. We saw the video way back, I believe in June, I think it was. You guys can see Brittany here talking to production, and she's making a reference to someone who is not involved with the cast. And so we had heard from Reality Chat that the altercation that she was referring to was between Jackie and Brittany. So then we get this tweet after the episode with the Ponderosa that Shawnee had that Jackie said, "Wow, glad they edited out the huge fight at Ev's event and grateful to Jaceel and Brittany for coming to the dinner and showing me mad love, even though our first meeting was so wild." Okay, so we got that bit of tea, but we never really got the full details on what happened. So shout out to my girl Crystal from Rolling Out. Crystal also has her own business enterprise. She's got books out. Please make sure you guys go and follow her. I will put the link to her Instagram down in the chat below. I met her when I went on a press experience in Jackson. We hit it off. That is my boo right there. But she had posted a clip of her interview with Jackie. And in that clip, Jackie is talking about the altercation between her and Brittany. So I'm going to tell you what exactly happened in this altercation, right? So in the interview with Crystal, she tells her when asked about sort of wives versus non-wives and how does Jackie feel about the dynamic with Brittany coming on? Because as you guys know, Brittany is not necessarily a wife, to which Brittany has also commented herself. Meanwhile, Jackie says, well, Brittany came in on a 20. So it was almost like, Brittany Renner has arrived. And apparently she walked right up to Jackie, who was sitting in the cut, and says, "I'm going to let you know that I'm not fake and I don't appreciate you running your mouth, Jackie." Now, apparently, this is where things kind of get a little sketchy. And it also sort of makes me wonder if this is why production didn't show the altercation, because it may not make sense to the audience to show it at that time because there was so much else going on. So let's talk about it. So to continue on, Brittany says, "I don't appreciate you running your mouth to Evelyn and the rest of the girls about what Vanessa told you about putting the tracker in her husband's car. That was disrespectful and you need to stand down." Now, at this point, remember, Evelyn's Ponderosa was episode 1, right? We had barely been introduced to Brittany at the actual event. We were introduced to Jaceel at the event. The only person that we did not know prior to the event was who we actually did know prior to the event was Vanessa. Okay. So it really wouldn't have made sense for that intel to come from Brittany, because the only person we knew that it had been technically told to was maybe Jennifer and Jackie, because otherwise Evelyn was supposed to only be finding this information out at Brooke's event, which means that she would have had to have found out beforehand. Is that correct? No. I take that back. Evelyn had a conversation with Jackie about what was going on with Vanessa before she had that conversation. So strike what I just said from the record. But I'm still trying to also piece together why they did not air this altercation. Because at that point, we have not seen Brittany and Vanessa come together in any way, shape, or form. We don't know that they are actually coming together until episode 3 when we see it happen at the event that Brittany put together in the park. All right, so let's continue on. So she is checking Jackie about what Jackie said to the rest of the girls about Vanessa putting the tracker in the car. But at that point, we're not supposed to know that Brittany and Vanessa know each other, because that's not how the story is being told, right? So Jackie says she took offense to that and says, you just got here. No, you're going to kiss the ring. You're in my city. So it was a whole big old verbal thing. All right. So it's verbal between Jackie and Brittany at this point. Okay. So she said that since Vanessa, the conversation was about Vanessa, she looked over at Vanessa and said, are you upset that I told Evelyn about the tracker? So it's unclear if I got to figure out at what point this altercation occurred. So Vanessa said no, she wasn't upset about Jackie telling the people about the tracker thing. And at that point, Brittany got upset and started talking crazy, right? So at that point, Jackie's girl, Mecca, who apparently has a child with Samaki Walker, was there and heard the commotion and said to Jackie, sis, are you good? So at that point, that's when Brittany took that as Mecca jumping in. And apparently, Brittany jumps up and drenches Mecca with 4 drinks. I don't know if it was like, boom, I'm going to grab a drink, boom, I'm going to grab a drink, boom, I'm going to grab a drink, boom. But apparently Mecca got the splash down, okay? Now, at that point, Jaceel jumps in because for whatever reason, I'm not really sure, how maybe Mecca had a response, but Jaceel jumps in. So then Jackie says she jumps in. All right. Now, this is what everybody saw in the blogs. This is the aftermath of that right here. Okay. So let's run it back for those who didn't really get it. Brittany approaches Jackie at Evelyn's party. Brittany is upset that Jackie ran and told the rest of the girls, i.e. Evelyn, about Vanessa's tracker in the car. But we are introduced to Brittany via Evelyn. So why would Brittany be mad about something that was told to Vanessa when she was supposed to not have even met her yet, based on the way they're telling us the story? Do y'all understand what I'm putting down right now? Okay, I understand it's convoluted and it's not making sense because it won't supposed to happen in this order, right? So had they shown us the fight, we would have all been confused, as we probably are confused right now. All right. But we do know, reality TV, they are telling us a story. And when things happen that don't make sense, they're going to leave it out. This is why we likely didn't see it. All right. So at that point, when Jackie jumps in, I guess things go haywire. I'm not sure how physical it gets, if at all. But apparently, she didn't see Brittany again until Shawnee's dinner, okay? The Ponderosa, where all the ladies sat down. Even Clayana was there. Now, I ain't going to say how I know she was actually there because they ain't show her, because I don't know if this person want me to tell the people how I confirmed it, but I do know for a fact Clayana was there. Period, okay? She just wasn't shown in that. All right, so let's get back to it. So, at that point, Jackie had been warned by some of the other ladies that Brittany was going to come in on 20 and have been talking bad about her and calling her names. So Jackie was wondering why and what she did to Brittany. So she was real quiet when Brittany and Jaceel entered the building. But when they did, they ended up apologizing to Jackie, and it became a whole apology thing. And she says that she's only seen growth from Brittany ever since that moment. And apparently, they have a scene coming up that's going to blow everybody away. Okay. So, hence Jackie's message here about, grateful to Jaceel and Brittany for coming to the dinner and showing me mad love, even though our first meeting was wild. So, that is the story that's what happened, right? Now, y'all know I've been chasing this for a minute. If you've been following my channel, it's the little things that excite me, but I really wanted to know. So we finally get to the end of that. Shout out to my girl, Crystal, for getting down to the bottom of this tea. Excuse me. Your boy is burping. All right. So let's get back to some more interviews, because in that same interview, when they talk about Evelyn versus Vanessa on social media, and Crystal asked if there's any way to mend it. Apparently for Jackie says this is only the tip of the iceberg, because this whole situation between them gets bigger. But she thinks that in order to resolve it, they're going to need a ponderosa between the two of them, and maybe her mediating, because Jackie is the mediator of all things. All right, so the next interview that I pull from for this story is the TGIF interview with Jackie Christie and Funky Dineva on the Fox Soul channel. Okay. So she basically says that she feels like they're overdoing it with some of the non-wives. So she's really happy they brought Vanessa in. And she also lets us know that she's going to butt heads with Miss Vanessa just a little bit as well. She feels like the show is moving in a different direction, but she also feels like they kind of pulled her back a little bit from being in the mix. So that also, could be a factor in why we didn't see that incident between her and Brittany. Okay. So she says that it's making some of the other women have to pull their weight, but she feels like as a viewer watching the show back, she needs to be back in the mix, because it ain't necessarily giving everything that maybe it's supposed to give. Okay. On not being there for Brooke, after Brooke experienced, the tragedy that we all know to be true at this point, she reveals that she had to let the editors know that she didn't appreciate, that whole situation coming up at the reunion. Apparently, to go back, Brandy told her initially about what happened to Brooke's daughter. She called Brooke, and Brooke's niece picked up, and they conversed, and then they started talking text-wise. She says they went into the reunion, and the night before they all went to dinner with production, and Brooke was there, and everything was great. They were laughing and talking. But then when the reunion came, it caught her off guard, so she felt misrepresented. And so that is also why she put out the receipts, basically the text message chain, because people were saying mean things to her family and her kids. Now let's talk about, this idea of production getting with the girls before the reunion. In my mind, and possibly I could see this happening because there have been so much of a gap between the two halves of the season that I'm pretty sure that they probably wanted to get all the ladies on the same page about maybe what was going to be touched on, and maybe to let the ladies know, okay, y'all need to be bringing it or whatever like that. I don't really know, but that's my assumption. All right. Because otherwise, I wouldn't really want them all together unless I needed to convey a message like, oh, y'all need to get this thing popping. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to make some sparks happen, right? Because otherwise, I really wouldn't want them to see each other before the reunion if I'm producing, because I need for them to come in with whatever they got on their mind, okay? And if you see each other beforehand, I don't need you to talk about the issues beforehand. I need you to talk about them there, okay? So anyway, apparently, when it came time to shoot season 11, she got asked 15 times. She said they begged and they wanted to shoot this scene with Brooke, and she wanted to let Brooke's daughter rest in peace. And she even had meetings about not doing the scene because she wanted to let her daughter rest in peace, and she thought they'd already settled it. So maybe this also explains why at the beginning of the season we don't get a resolution between Jackie and Brooke immediately, because Jackie was busy trying not to do the scene because she really wanted to let the situation rest in peace. However, as a viewer, I say that situation still needed to be resolved on the show because not everybody is into the social media of it all, and I shouldn't have to watch social media to understand what's going on with the show. So I am in agreement with production for asking them to have that conversation, but Jackie lets us know that she was tricked, okay, into that situation because she thought she was going into a scene to do one thing, and they ended up talking about that scene, so it ended up being something else. So she did apologize, and she did apologize to Brooke for having to put the receipts out there, but I feel like Jackie still feels like she didn't really do nothing wrong because she felt like she was in the appropriate level of communication, but she also realizes that she also took a step back and sort of was like, okay, maybe let you process how this is what is happening in your life right now. Because really, it's a tough call to figure out what to do when somebody has somebody close to them die. I can attest to that. I am literally 1 year. It is 1 year today that I lost one of my best friends, and it has completely changed my life. And I'll talk about that in a video on my personal channel, but it has just been the rockiest, darkest year I have had to date. So I understand Brooke's perspective, but I also understand Jackie's perspective, because for me, while I lost somebody that was a best friend to me, her husband lost a wife. You know what I mean? So that it's a tricky situation to maneuver through, right? Now, Funky done even had to ask about that fight between Brooke and Jackie from way back in the day. Y'all remember this now. So, based on the way the fight was edited, it almost looked like Brooke won that fight. But Jackie says, go back and ask Bambi, Malaysia, Drea, and anybody else was there. Production had apparently told her that if she fought again, she was going to have to go. Okay. But she said if somebody stepped in her face, she was going to do what she did to Brooke 15 more times. Okay. She told Brooke apparently that she would never put out what actually happened if Brooke continued to respect her. But she said, if you go there and say something, then I'm gonna have to go and tell this truth that they had to pull me off of her. Okay. They had to pull me off of her. And she said she did not lose that fight. Okay. Now, regarding Jackie's back and forth with Evelyn from just a few weeks ago, when Jackie was like, tweeting about wanting Malaysia back, she felt like, when she got the call that Evelyn, was clapping back at her, she was doing a play in Atlanta and had to go step outside and see what was going on, right? So then she immediately calls Evelyn, who does not pick up the phone, right? Because that's what I would do. You got a problem with me, and when I think we cool, and you take that problem to social media, I'm calling you. I'm not going to social media to clap back at you when I got your number. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like that in real life. Like, if you got a problem with me, even if we on a reality TV show and we ain't filming right now, and then you take something to social media, all right, so now you got a problem that I don't have. Okay, you got the problem. Call me. You got my number. Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, save it for the show when we getting paid to do that, because we're not getting paid for the social media aspect of it all, from what I know. Okay. Meanwhile, she felt like Ev maybe have felt a certain type of way because they're playing this season up, like, oh, it's the return of Evelyn. Okay. And she's like, I'm fine with that. Like, let her have that moment or whatever like that. But, it wasn't, she felt like she's never had any issue with Malaysia. But the thing that she did say was that if Malaysia wanted to leave, then she felt like the best thing for Malaysia would have been to leave. So it wasn't that she didn't want Malaysia around. It was just that if Malaysia felt like she needed to go, she needed to go. Okay. Basically, that was pretty much it. When asked about her dream Basketball Wives cast, she basically gives the politically correct answer and says, bring everybody back, even including OG. Which I don't think OG left on the best of terms with her, but they could be like, maybe, I don't know where they are now. She does say she has her own TV show and her own new book coming out, so be on the lookout for that. All the Jackie Christie projects. I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on because I was interested in this information myself. So hopefully I explained it to you correctly. If not, I will place links in the description down below so you guys can watch each of those segments and get all the tea that you need from because I don't give you everything, okay, that comes in an interview, but I give you what I need you to know from based on what we wanted to know, okay? So with that being said, I will catch you all in the next video.